Ultimate Fact presents 15 amazing coincidences that happened in the world you won't believe actually happened. Before we begin, click that like button to inspire us. Moreover, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to be inspired by this type of ultimate fact. Coincidences happen in everyone's life, and we're used to treating them as irrelevant incidents. Well, anything can happen in life. It's quite unpredictable. But sometimes these very coincidences turn out to be so amazingly funny or even shocking that you can't help but wonder. Anyway, all these examples deserve your attention. James Dean's bad luck car. In 1955, James Dean was killed in an awful car accident while driving his Porsche. The car was towed to a garage for repair. There was a mechanic working on the car, and the engine slipped out and shattered both of his legs. Years later, a doctor bought the engine to put into his racing car. He died shortly after while racing the car. Years later, the garage where James Dean's car was taken to be repaired was destroyed in a fire. The car was still mostly intact though, and it was sent to Sacramento to show off. Unfortunately, it fell off its mount and broke a teenager's hip. Later, the trailer that the Porsche was mounted on was in Oregon, and it slipped from its tow bar and smashed into a storefront. Finally, in 1959, the car broke into 11 pieces mysteriously while it was sitting on steel supports. The cursed car no longer exists. Hugh Williams, perpetual shipwreck survivor. There have been millions of shipwreck casualties throughout history. In 1660, a ship sank in the Dover Straits. There was only one survivor, a man named Hugh Williams. In 1767, another ship sank in the same area. The only survivor was another man named Hugh Williams. A ship capsized in 1820 on the Thames. The only survivor on that ship was also named Hugh Williams. In 1940, a ship was destroyed by a German mine. Of all the people on board, only two survived, a man named Hugh Williams and his nephew, who was named after him, Hugh Williams. Finding love at Woodstock. Most people don't expect to find the love of their lives at a music festival based on what happens in these events. One of the most famous music festivals in history was Woodstock. The couple in this photo met there. They spent the entire festival together. Their relationship continued and eventually they got married. Today they are still together, and they recently celebrated their 48th wedding anniversary. There have been plenty of books written about Woodstock, and the couple's first photo together just so happens to be on the cover. Next time you go to a music festival and you think that there's no way you're going to meet the love of your life. The JFK and Lincoln coincidence. America has two presidents who were loved by all, John F. Kennedy and Abraham Lincoln. First, Abraham Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846, and John F. Kennedy was elected exactly a century later in 1946. Lincoln won his election in 1860, and his inauguration was in 1861. John F. Kennedy won his election in 1960, and his inauguration was in 1961. Both presidents had a vice president and a successor named Johnson. Both men were shot in the head in front of their wives, and both were shot on a Friday. A bullet kills its intended victim years later. In 1883, a man named Henry Ziegler was shot at. The bullet only grazed his face and lodged into a tree. Years later, Ziegler wanted to see where the place where he was almost killed. He took a few sticks of dynamite and believed that blowing up the tree would be the best way to get the bullet out. When the tree exploded, the lodged bullet in the tree propelled from the tree and shot Ziegler in the head, killing him instantly. It was very creepy that the bullet that was meant to kill Ziegler all those years before eventually did. Message in a bottle competition. In 2006, a man named Mark Anderson found a message in a bottle that was 92 years old. He earned a spot in the Guinness Book of World Records for finding the oldest message in a bottle. He was very proud of his accomplishment and often bragged to his friends and fellow fisherman Andrew Lever. After 6 years, Andrew Lever was working as a skipper on the Copious off the Scottish coast when a message in a bottle floated right by him. The message was 98 years old. He took his friend's spot in the record books. Destined to be together. It's not uncommon for a random person to pop up in the background of a family photo. If you look at this photo, it looks like a picture of a family enjoying their vacation, and the man in the photo who happens to be at the same place at the same time. The random man in this photo married the woman on the left 7 years later. At the time the photo was taken, they didn't even know each other. It wasn't until they were already engaged that they realized that they were at the exact same place at the exact same time. Same photo, same age, same place. When a man and his wife were married, they started going through their old family photos. It was then that they discovered that they each took the same photo at the age of 10 at Hershey Park. They didn't meet on that day. They were 30 years old when they met, but they were shocked that they both took the same family vacation photo and that they were at the same age when they did. Same name, same hotel. In the late 50s, a man named George D. Bryson checked into the Brown Hotel in Louisville, Kentucky. He signed the register and took the key to room 307. After being out at a business meeting, Mr. Bryson went to the receptionist to see if he had any mail waiting for him. The receptionist gave him a letter that was addressed to Mr. George D. Bryson, room 307. When he opened the letter, he realized that it was not for him. It was actually for the man who had just checked out of room 307 before Mr. Bryson had checked in. The two men had the exact same name and the exact same room number. Man saves falling babies twice. In 1937, a mother was standing in the window of a fourth-story building in Detroit when she accidentally dropped her baby. Luckily, there was a man named Joseph Figlock working below when the infant fell from the sky and hit him in the head and the shoulders. A year later, another mother was in a high-rise building when she allowed her 2-year-old son, David Thomas, to fall from the window. And ironically, Figlock was working on the ground below, sweeping an alley. When the child fell, Figlock was struck in the hand. Both he and the child survived. What are the odds of a man being in the right place at the right time 2 years in a row? Spooky number. 15 virtual twins died and born on the same day the founder of Ferrari died in 1988. The same year, footballer Mesut Ozil was born. What is strange is that these men are identical. Some wonder if Enzo Ferrari was reincarnated as Mesut Ozil. The first dance. In the photo on the left, you can see a boy and a girl dancing together. Neither one of them looks all that happy about it. At the time, they had no idea that one day they would be dancing at their own wedding. It's crazy how you can find love in a place where you least expect it. It's adorable how these two met as kids, and then they found each other again as adults. Today, they are much happier to be together than they were when they were dancing as children. Left-handed president coincidence. Only 10% of Americans are left-handed, but of the last 14 U.S. presidents, more than half of them were left-handed. Over the past 20 years, almost every presidential candidate has been left-handed. In 2008, John McCain and Barack Obama were left-handed. In 1992, all three candidates who were running were also left-handed. The DoX Twin Towers. In 2000, a PC game was created called DoX. When the Skybox artist was creating the game, he forgot to add the Twin Towers to the New York City skyline. They decided to say that a terrorist attack was responsible. When they created this explanation, there was no way that they knew that a year later that a real terrorist attack would take down the Twin Towers. Two brothers killed on a moped. In 1975, a man was riding a moped in Bermuda when he was struck by a taxi and killed. A year later, the man's brother had paid to have the moped that his brother was killed on repaired. The day he finished repaying the repair fees, he took the moped out for a ride. Sadly, he was also struck and killed. The crazy part is that the man was struck and killed by the same taxi, driven by the same taxi driver. PM. PM was born 12 years after the death of his half-brother. His half-brother had died of neuroblastoma at the age of 2. He had suffered a pathological fracture of his left tibia and received a biopsy of a nodule on his scalp just above his right ear, and was given chemo through a central line in his right external jugular vein. PM also had neuroblastoma, which left him practically blind in his left eye, which was strange as his brother had been entirely blind in his left eye when he had died. Furthermore, PM began to speak to his mother about the previous family home and described it in great detail. Sam Taylor. And finally, there is the strange case of Sam Taylor. who seems to have been a reincarnation of his own grandfather. Sam's grandfather died just 18 months before Sam was born, and though he showed signs of past life memories at a young age, his parents were very skeptical. That is, until Sam told his father, "When I was your age, I used to change your diapers." Furthermore, Sam began to tell his parents things about his grandfather's private life that he couldn't possibly have known. Weirder still, they were all true. Think about that one for a while. That's all for now. Like always, if you enjoyed it, be sure to give us a big thumbs up and leave us some love in the comments section. To keep up to date with all of our awesome videos, be sure to hit subscribe and turn your notifications on to never miss a thing. Until next time, do take good care of yourself.